So you may not recognise this place. You see where the fence is in Pauson. But this is the land that was all swampy, full of holes, not very good, and where we're going to build a hatchery. So been away for a week on holiday. Pauson hasn't stopped, of course, and look at it. He's managed to fence it. He's started clearing it. This is Frank digging, and it looks fantastic. So the plan here is to build a couple of tanks where you can put hatchlings. So the little, when the fish are hatched, call them hatchlings. They're tiny before they're fingerlings, and then you put them in there and you can grow them, and we can then sell them to farmers around. So you don't have to drive 8 hours to get your feed, your seed. So bottom end of pond 3, and look what we've got here. This is we're making 3 ponds here basically for breeding. So what we're going to do, that pond that you can see, is we put the males in there. The one they're digging now, put the females in there. So these are adult fish which are ready to reproduce. And when you want eggs produced and spawning from the fish, you can put them in the 3rd pond, which is not started yet, but basically here. And you put them in there, they breed. And then when the eggs are ready, you collect them from the tilapia, then we transfer them to our hatchery that we're building, and then we hatch them from there. It's very exciting. I'm surprised because, to be honest, we didn't really have, I don't told you too much about the financials, right? But we didn't really have enough money for these ponds. But we've managed to scrape together some cash, diverted it from some other projects, some other fish farm projects we've got going, and hopefully it will stretch. But I think this is quite an important step, because big problem here is just getting fingerlings. Huge problem for most for us, we're quite a large, for the area fish farm, we're ordering sort of 10,000 fish at once. It's worth us making the journey to Kampala, paying the fuel, which is not insignificant, 8 hours away. And we can afford that, but for a smaller farmer who wants 1,000 fish, who doesn't have a car, there's no way that he can do that. And so actually hatchery will have a huge impact on the area and sort of really help the industry to grow. So yeah, very happy that we get to do that. This is the male pond, 8 by 20 metres, so 160 metres squared, 160. Which you times by 4, which is a rough stocking rate for tilapia, so we can get about 640 males in here, which is more than sufficient for what we need. The female ponds are going to be exactly the same size, and then the breeding ponds will be up the same size as well. So all in all, we've got a good stock for a little small hatchery here in Rukungiri, which is fantastic. It's really good. We have paused this one for the moment because the public transport's not running at the moment because of COVID, and so anything has to come on lorries, and so we're waiting for sacks, which is what we get these recycled from bakeries, pay a lot less, and then you fill them with dirt, line the sides to keep the banks strong, but we've run out of sacks. They're on the way, but they're not arrived yet, so we thought we'd start digging on this one. Yeah, it's exciting. Now, you have to forgive me because we are removing a couple of trees to do this bit, but we are, all about conservation. So what we've managed to do instead is we've redesigned these ponds to make maximum use of nature, keep nature as it is. So we've got the original oak tree, because that's why the ponds are 43 metres, because we stopped so we could keep that oak tree alive. Then we've kept this bit here, which is sort of swampy, mixed vegetation, not proper wetlands, but it's getting there. Different habitat, good for different species. We're going to keep it sort of like an L shape. So from that tree, it'll go here, and then it curves down here. So we'll keep that sort of nature. We could have just gone back to back. We decided not to do that. But it does mean that we'll have to get rid of that tree, which is a bit of a shame, but we're doing our best to keep the trees in situ. We don't like eucalyptus because that's not a native species and everyone plants it, but we do like the other trees, and so it feels sad to get rid of that, but we've kept most of the other ones, so I hope you can understand our reasoning for that. And you can see over here all this wonderful wetland. In fact, if you go down there, you'll quite often see monkeys, which is quite exciting. So this would be the other part of the hatchery. So basically we would bring the hatchlings and put them in these concrete tanks, which will sit about here. So not huge tanks, like 1 metre by 3 metres. And then you just basically feed the hatchlings until they become fingerlings. We'd be doing it from here. In order to do that, you need really good quality water, highly oxygenated. So you have to put a water tank, and then you pipe the water from the water tank to the tanks where the hatchlings are, and then the water sort of drip feeds down these pipes. So it's constantly moving and creating oxygen in the water, and then you pump that water back up into the tank and you sort of recirculate it. So it's like a loop system, because you need very high quality water. It needs to be purified, high oxygen, etc, etc. But this is why we fenced this bit off, so that we can do something like that.